Hello, guys. Water heaters have become extremely expensive in the past few years. So, what you want to do is make your current water heater last as long as possible, right? You don't want to spend a fortune to replace a water heater when you could have easily maintained it yourself with a small trick that I'm going to show you today, which is easy to do and inexpensive at the same time. So if you want to make your water heater last up to 10 times longer without having to spend a fortune to replace it or even pay someone to do it because it's so easy, you can do it yourself, and I'm going to show you everything you need to do, then stick around and watch this video and you can save yourself a ton of money on replacing your water heater in the future. So let's get into it. All right, guys, so I'm going to show you in this video a quick and easy and inexpensive trick to be able to keep your tank water heater going for many, many years without having any issues. But before we get too far into the video, be sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you stay informed every time I do all sorts of repairs around the house, whether it's plumbing repair, electrical, automotive, whatever it happens to be. I always try to find ways to make it interesting for you guys to learn and do new and different things to save you guys some money. Aside from that, product reviews and all sorts of ways to save money at the big box stores. So hit that subscribe button and let's get going. And that is the trick, because water heaters have become extremely expensive in the past few years. I mean, a few years ago, you could buy a tank water heater like this one right here for about $200-300, something like that. I know because I did it. The one before this one only cost me about $300, and it was the top of the line GE at that time. Now, a few years later, when I had to replace it with this one, they ran up to $700 to $1,000 for a water heater. So in this case, I got this guy, which cost me almost $700, and it was the bottom of the line available at that time. So see how things have changed? It is a dramatic difference. Anyway, so I want to keep this guy going as long as possible because I don't want to have to spend $1,000 for another water heater when this guy goes bad. And what is the biggest culprit of your water heater? What is the biggest problem that causes your water heater to go bad? Well, the control panel down there is one of them. And I had to replace the control panel on this water heater while it was still under warranty. And I made a video about that, and I'll put a link in the corner. You can go see that. It's on my channel page, and it's gotten a lot of views because it was so problematic. A lot of people had the same problem. Well, since I replaced it, I have not had any issues, so I want to make sure this guy keeps going. Now, the second biggest problem of your water heater is rust. And how does it rust out? Well, the water inside of it will rust it out. So how do you prevent that? Well, the problem is that the water inside the tank has a lot of minerals to it. And the minerals are actually what destroys your water heater, not the water itself. The water, if it was purified, clean water with no minerals or anything in it, it would be harmless. It would not do anything to your water heater at all. What people always forget is that it's not the water that causes problem to your appliances, to your body, whatever. It's the stuff in it, the stuff that's diluted in the water. In this case, the minerals attack the inside of the tank and cause your water heater to rot out and start leaking, and therefore you have to replace it. So how do you do that? Well, water heaters already come from the factory with a sacrificial rod, an anode rod inside of it, which is what the minerals will attack instead of the tank, because it is made out of metals that are much more sacrificial than the tank itself. So eventually that goes bad. It is sacrificial. That will go bad. And then when it's gone, they will start attacking your tank. So what do you do? What you do is you replace that one that is sacrificial. It went bad. It's gone. It's no longer there. You replace it with a new one. And that's the trick we're going to do today. This guy right here is an anode rod. And you can buy these anywhere, any plumbing store, Home Depot, Lowe's, anywhere that you want to. I got this guy online. And since I got, basically you can see I got a segmented one because unfortunately, you can see up there, I have a limited space above the water heater. Unfortunately, in my case, if they had put the anode rod on the front here, I got plenty of room up above it. I could have put a solid rod with no trouble. But as usual with things in my life, they made it difficult and they put it around the back where all those black, insulated pipes are. So it'll hit that stop right there, that little bump out of the ceiling, and I won't be able to put a big rod in there because most of the rods are about 42, 44 inches long, etc. That's what you're looking for. So instead of having a solid continuous rod, what they make available now is these segmented rods, which come in sections, which are easy to put in there, and they're held together with a wire. And what you do is you basically fish it into the tank, bit by bit, into the tank, section by section, and then you don't need to worry about it if you have a roof or a ceiling or anything like that up above, some kind of cover, some cupboards like this, anything up above your water heater, then you don't need to worry about it. And that's what we're going to do. And most kits will come with everything you need: the anode rod, the Teflon tape, and the socket to be able to get this guy off. Because you want to have a 6-point socket. You don't want to use a 12-point. You want to use a 6-point because this guy is going to be really tight in there. So you want to make sure you get a 6-point to get a proper grip. And these things are not very expensive. This was the cheapest I got on Amazon. And it was only about 25 bucks. So that's very inexpensive. And these guys, you need to replace them about every 2 to 3 years, something like that. I went a little bit long on this guy. I just realized the other day that I had already gone the 6 years because I realized the warranty expired on me. So I have been negligent. I should have done this a couple of years ago. And since my warranty's done, I basically got to stay on top of it and take care of it myself. Now, one thing to point out is on these anode rods, they have a couple of different types. They have the zinc and magnesium, which is what this guy is right here. And that is the least expensive one, but unfortunately it's the one that will get corroded and eaten up the fastest. They also do have an aluminum one, but that one is less sacrificial. In other words, it is harder to get eaten up. It'll last you longer. It costs more. But one of the bad side effects is that it can give you a sulfur smell in your water. So I didn't want to have that. So I went with this guy, which will be consumed more quickly, but I don't have to worry about, that rotten egg smell in my water. Who the heck wants that? I certainly do not. This is something cheap and easy. Get it at your local store, order online, whatever you want to do, and you get everything you need. All we got to do basically is I'm going to clear out a few things right here, and then we're going to start working on replacing this guy. And what you want to do in preparation for this is you're going to turn off the gas or electricity, depending on your particular unit. And you're going to, basically wait a little bit, shut off the water too. And you're going to release the pressure inside the water heater. And you're going to drain it because you need it to come down a little bit. You don't want to have the water, boiling out of there and scalding you or something. So take precautions. This is the pressure release valve right here. You can use this to release the pressure on your tank. Every tank has one for safety reasons. And you also have a drain down at the bottom. So you can use either one of those two to drain out water and bring down the water inside the tank so you can work on it safely. So shut off the electricity, the gas, the water, all that, and then, give it a few minutes for it to cool down and so forth. And then start taking out some water so you can start working on it. So I'm going to do all that right now. And then I got to set up my camera way up there somewhere so you guys can see what I'm going to do. Now, one thing to point out in case I forget to point it out. See, in my case, my water heater is strapped to the wall. Yours may or may not. But when you start taking off this anode, you're going to have to use the socket, and you may use a big pry bar or something like that. Now, that may cause your tank to twist if you put too much force up there. If you use an impact wrench, it should not be an issue. But if you do it manually, you got to have somebody hold it so this guy doesn't start twisting on you and become a bigger problem. So be careful with that, depending on the situation that you have and how you intend to attack this problem. So I'm going to use an impact wrench because I have one. Some of you out there may not have one. It is not required. It is not necessary. It's just a matter of convenience. So let me get this set up and we'll go from there. All right, guys, so here we are. I set up the camera above the water heater. I apologize for the angle, but there's not much I can do. You already saw that I have a very tight, very weird angled position there. And the anode rod, you can see the hole right back there, is between all these pipes that are insulated. And I didn't want to take off the insulation just to do this. So you get the general idea of what I'm doing from what you can see. Anyway, so the main point thing here that I wanted to point out is that I started off with an impact, and I figured any impact would do, right? I mean, how tight can this thing be? So I started off with a small, compact 500 foot-pound impact that I have, and this thing would not budge it. You can see I'm flipping around on it, trying to go back and forth and trying to see what I'm doing wrong, and it just will not budge. It is impacting away like crazy. I'm even trying to push down on it to see what I can do. Nothing. It won't budge it. This thing, they either put too much sealant on it or they put it too tight. I'm amazed they didn't even strip the threads on this thing. Honestly, I was concerned, wondering what the heck am I going to do? Because this thing is starting to overheat on me and it's not budging it. So, finally I decided to give up. You're going to see in a moment that I give up. And this is why I always tell you to always have the biggest, baddest tools on hand that you can afford, because you never know when you're going to need it. Like in this case right here, I finally decided to pull out my 1,400 foot-pound impact wrench, and that's what I'm going to use for this. And this is a water heater. This is not some industrial equipment. This is not automotive work, but this is what I needed to get this guy done. If I had not had this 1,400 foot-pound impact wrench, I would have been SOL. I would not have been able to get it out of there. And even this, I had to hold the trigger for a while to get it to let go. So that tells you how tough this guy was really in there. But I finally got it to let go. Now, what you got to do is, this guy, the anode rod is inside of a hole, so you can't reach it with your fingers. So what you got to do is get some needle nose pliers to pull it out, and make sure you have it, unthreaded all the way, or it's going to get stuck. But there you go. I'm pulling it out. And you can see the condition that this guy is in. And I'll show it to you in a moment. And of course, I had to go and drop it because just, fumbling around. But grab onto it and then grab it before it drops back in so you can pull it out. And see what I tell you about the camera, I have it right above my head there. So I'm going to probably hit it a couple of times as you watch this video. But look at the condition of this anode rod. And actually, I was surprised I was able to pull it straight up, and I didn't have any problem with the ceiling that I have right above there. So I was amazed I was able to get that guy out of there. Now, I decided to clean up the area so I don't drop any garbage inside there, clean up the threads and so forth, and just make sure that it threads in properly. So, there I'm blowing it out of there and so forth. And got the other anode rod prepared. I put the Teflon tape on it and so forth, and we're going to start dropping it on in. So you drop it on in there. It's nice and easy. I mean, there's not much to go wrong. Just drop it in the hole. What else can you do? Just let it go on in there piece by piece. And you see I hit the camera again. That's how close I have the camera to my head and to where I'm working and so forth. I barely have enough room to work. So, there's no way I could put the camera in a better position to be able to show you better. So anyway, one thing you want to do is you want to start this by hand. Try to start it with your fingers as best you can, and then use the socket, the extension, and do it by hand. That way you're sure that you're not stripping it. Okay, you don't want to strip it, because if you do, you're going to be SOL. You're going to have a major problem on your hands, because you're not going to have any way to plug that up, and the water is going to come gushing out of there if you strip the threads and you can't seal it up right. That's why I decided not to go with the impact wrench. I decided to do it by hand. That way I can get a proper feel for how this guy is tightening up properly. Is it binding? Is it going to strip on me? What is going to happen here? So that's why I'm doing it by hand. That way I can get a proper feel for what's going on. And I can get it pretty darn tight myself. I have stripped threads in the past with my own strength. So I have to be careful and I have to judge. So I get it nice and tight. I want it to be tight just like I was to begin with, but not to the point that I strip it and not to the point that I break off the top of the anode rod, and then I got a bigger problem on my hands. So that's why I didn't use the impact to put it back in. I did it by hand, and you can see right there, I'm putting it really, really tight, but I'm judging very slowly what I feel so that I don't go too far. So now it's done. Let's go take a look at the actual anode rod, and I'll show you how that looks after I came out of there. All right, guys, so there is the top of the water heater. I put everything back the way it was supposed to be, and that's what I told you. I have a weird angle with that ceiling up there, so I had to be able to fit myself, my equipment, and stuff like that right there, and the camera was right above me right there. So that's why it was a little weird on the angle, but still, you got the general idea of what I was doing. So anyway, one thing I would suggest is do the same thing I did. Be sure to label somewhere on your water heater that you replaced it and when you did. And that way you know 2, 3, 4 years later, whenever you want to, you know exactly when you did it and you know that you need to replace it at some point. And here is the big reveal. There is the disgusting anode rod. Now you can tell up here, it is totally all gone. Now down here, there is still some material left. Let me put on a lighter surface so you can see. But look at how disgusting this thing is. That is all the minerals attacking the aluminum or magnesium, whatever was on there. So this could have lasted another year or 2 or 3. I really don't know. But they say to replace it every 2, 3, 4 years, depending on the hardness of the water you have. Look at that right there. Look at that crustiness right there. It went right through it. That's why the whole top part is gone. It has to be all the way up to here originally. And all this is gone. And it's all just grungy deposits. So the rest of it is what was left to control any, mineral invasion, mineral deterioration inside the tank. So even though it could have gone longer, you know what? It's fine. It's done. Now I don't need to worry about it. It has a new anode rod and it'll protect it for a few more years to come. And this is one of those things, since you can't see it, I mean, if you're going to go through the trouble of it, let's say some people would say, oh, just check it every 2 or 3 years. So you're going to go through all this trouble to take it out and put it back in? Why? That seems like an awful lot of trouble to me. For me, it was not easy. I mean, I have to be up on a ladder to be able to get on top of that. I had to literally practically kneel down on top of that thing there to be able to balance myself to get up there to do it properly. It's no fun. For me, it was no fun at all. If I'm going through the trouble of it, I'm replacing it. I am not putting the old one back in just to do it again a year later. No, thank you. For 25 bucks, it's not worth my time and trouble. For 25 bucks, I got it done. It's over with. It'll last a few years and I don't need to worry about it. So there you go, guys. Not a very complicated job, not very difficult at all. I would say it's easy enough to do. Took me just a little bit to do it, not long at all, but it took me longer since I had the camera, the setup, the lighting, all that kind of stuff to be able to do it for you guys. And then I have to edit the video and all that afterward. But one thing I would say is have somebody help you to hold the tank if you don't have an impact. And if you do have an impact, use the biggest, baddest one you got. Otherwise, you're going to be struggling like I did to begin with. So there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped you out. That way you know exactly what the procedure is to replace the anode rod on your water heater, gas, electric, whatever it is. It's all the same procedure. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye for now.